I am very pleased to state that with the second episode of Uncle from Another World, or Isekai Ojisan, this series is getting better with the episodes, and hopefully it keeps doing that, but episode 2 was a lot of fun. Now, there's a side of me that wants to make sure everybody knows my stance here, and that I was a gamer. I've always been a gamer, and yes, unfortunately, my parents, when I was young, well, I blame my brothers. I honestly blame my brothers, but it could have been my parents too, but they bought a Sega Saturn rather than a PlayStation, and so we went the Sega Saturn route, and unfortunately for me, that was a dying console. That was a dying generation, but I think it's in a lot of that I get a lot of fun with this series so far, especially with the second episode, and really relating heavily with the uncle and his desire to see what happened when he was gone with the console wars. Now, there's a side of me that kind of wonders, like, well, okay, you're so dead set on Sega, and Sega Saturn specifically, because that was the console at his time when he went into a coma. But I still kind of realize, what about the Dreamcast? Like, he doesn't want to know about the Dreamcast, where it went from there? Just immediately, Sega Saturn, oh yeah, by the way, they lost the console war, so all I care about is the Sega Saturn. So, again, a lot of my humor that I got from this episode was really around the nostalgia and the relatability with the uncle in regards to Sega Saturn. So much that when he went out there, when he went outside, stood in the rain, or at least floated in the rain, and started screaming about Guardian Heroes, I was like, yes, this guy knows. This guy knows. Guardian Heroes was one of my favorite console games, and easily the best game on the Sega Saturn. It was just such a good game. Enough that I went and got, was it Princess Crown or something like that? The same group made a 3DS game, and I bought that. It wasn't the same, though. It was not the same. Just me and my friends and my brothers, we had so much fun playing multiplayer, these big arena battles with each other. And then, yes, going over and playing the story mode through for the 50th time, and then coming back and just creating some crazy arena battle with a whole bunch of really overpowered monsters and just lasers and stuff flying everywhere. It was so much fun. But anyways, I mean, technically, every time he closes his memories, it has sound effects from the Sega Saturn console, so there's a lot of nostalgia there. That's enough of that. Uncle from Another World. Great episode. I think I got a huge kick out of the humor this time around, because a lot of it really hit. There was a couple of lull points, just like with the first episode, and I don't think we're ever going to get away from that, because I think those bits are kind of samey. Like, whenever those points don't hit, it's usually kind of revolving around Takafumi's kind of just seeing his uncle is dumb. But, I mean, I get a kick out of the skits, just kind of sitting there and sticking on it with Takafumi, I think is where it ruins it. Like, I laughed, and then I'm waiting for Takafumi to get over it. I guess that's the thing there. But, yes, the other thing they kind of introduced with this episode is that, yes, the uncle is just dumb when it comes to quests. Because this whole discussion about Sega Saturn and Guardian Heroes not winning and him being really mad about that kind of transitions to the idea of RPGs, JRPGs specifically, and Takafumi wondering, well, do you like JRPGs? And the uncle's like, no, I'd never got them. I'd always play it, I'd have a quest, and then I would come back the next day and I'd forget what I was doing. And that plays out in a scenario with the Ice Queen they finally introduced with this episode, Mabel. And he basically comes to the village, they attack him because he looks like a monster, and then finally he gets a quest. This dragon's coming and it's going to ruin everything, but we have the weapon to defeat it, and it's a sword, but it's inside here with Mabel, and Mabel's got something keeping her heart cold, so we need to thaw it. So, oh, by the way, there's this flower that could possibly thaw her heart to get the sword. No, he just goes over and defeats the dragon, comes back and says, I defeated the dragon, and you can see Mabel in the background just kind of just chilling there still, like that part of the quest was never finished. So this difficult to deal with girl is going to stay there. But of course they come back into that whole situation later on with her visiting him after New Year's, which was equally as dorky, because again it goes into that whole idea that he has no clue about relationships or anything. So yeah, that was funny. She comes over there, she talks about how she wants to be stronger. Like, he obviously was very strong. She wants to not be a coward like him. The villager says that she's a coward, and he's like, be what you want to be. And it seems so good, because he's like, man, he definitely had a relationship with Mabel. Mabel looks up to him, and then sure enough, he's like, yeah, if you want to, just keep being a NEET. Just keep being a shut-in. Be what you want to be. And so she went back. She went right back. Which I'm sure they'll bring her up again later on, just her apparently being a NEET of this other world because he pushed her to do it. Obviously, the other thing they kind of introduced in this episode was the childhood friend of Takafumi, Fujimiya. And yeah, she's like super overprotective of him, even though they haven't seen each other since they were, I guess, in middle school or something like that. But whatever, it works. But yeah, she sees him and he's talking to Spirit, so she thinks she's crazy, and then find out that he's there and he tries to erase her mind, which again, nobody went with me on this. I criticized the show in the first episode because he was using this mind erasing thing in the language of the previous world, but now he's trying to use it on Fujimiya. Now, I guess to give people credit, he's able to erase his own mind with the language of the other world because he understands it, but maybe using it on a person in Japan, it doesn't work because he needs to use Japanese. I don't know. That part continues to be this big plot hole for me, but I still don't believe he's really erasing his own mind. I think he's just doing that out of habit, and it doesn't really do anything. Of course, unless he thinks about it, he doesn't know if he erased it. So if he thinks that he erased something, but he didn't actually erase something, how would he know that he didn't erase it? Just putting way too much thought in this stupid thing. But no, this is funny, the little interaction, because she doesn't want him to be there. She obviously knows that he's nuts, but just going through this whole stupid conversation about love and him realizing that Fujimiya likes Takafumi, but she doesn't want to say it. And they're questioning if he even knows what love is. And he's talking about, yes, I know love because I watched Evangelion. Which turns into a whole conversation about, wait, there was a tsundere in that show, Asuka. So you ask him, so you know Asuka, so you'll know that the elf, and he's panicking because he's like, if he realized that Asuka was a tsundere, he'll realize that the demeanor of the elf was the same, and that, yes, in fact, the elf liked him in the end. But no, he's like, yeah, he liked Kaji, obviously. That was great. That was really great. I think it always hits really good when you can actually get the references. Again, Sega Saturn, Guardian Heroes, Evangelion, but at the same time, it's similar to something like High Score Girl, where it's hard to recommend to people because unless you get the humor, you're not going to get the humor. Like, it's just going to go right over your head over and over again. So again, it kind of still sets in the idea that if you're not super into gaming or into Sega in general, I did like the fact that the only reason you watch Evangelion was because Sega was sponsoring it. But if you don't get this humor, I don't think it's going to land. It was funny that he technically read her mind to find out that she changed her clothes, she took a shower and everything before she showed up, just to continue to kind of show that aspect. But yeah, it does seem like Fujimiya is the childhood friend. I love him forever, and I will do anything, and I will even go and live with him drought just because they knew each other when they were childhood friends. But it works. It's funny. She's super protective of him, wants the best for him, and doesn't like the fact that this old man is living with him. But yeah, that's going to turn some fun stuff. I did get a kick out of when he bought him the console and the 20 games, and he gives it to him, and he's not sure if he's going to be mad or not because of this whole finding out about what happened with Sega Saturn. And sure enough, he's like got this really stern face, and he's like, Dochi, like, which one is it? Is he happy or is he mad? What is it? But then he raises up the Guardian Hero, and then I can hear that sound effects and the music from the Guardian Hero game in the background. I'm like, oh, nostalgia. Anyways, I had fun with the second episode. So if you guys are still holding out, should I watch this show? If any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. It's got a lot of fun in there, and a lot of nostalgia that I'm looking forward to. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts on the second episode of Uncle from Another World, or Isekai Ojisan. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode, if you're enjoying it. Let me know if you got all the references. Are you a Guardian Heroes fan like I am? Let me know in the comments down below. Additionally, if you're not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support us more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. Definitely appreciate everybody does, and y'all take care.